we are about to discuss the incredible growth of vernacular content, the regional content, mobile-first strategies, and engaging the Bharat audience. We, in fact, managed to gather that from our previous set of speakers in terms of storytelling, at the same time in terms of how content for that matter, how it's got to be more authentic to the taste of the audience itself. That reminds me of a quick story actually. Back in 1999, where I come from, which is Kakinada in Andhra Pradesh, the movie Matrix released, okay? And I went to the theater thinking I'm going to watch Matrix, only to realize Matrix was being streamed in Telugu. And I was thinking Keanu Reeves is going to say, I am back, but hey, something else happened in Telugu. The same happened when I went to watch Anaconda movie, and I thought, hey, I'm going to watch Anaconda. And Snake became Pamu, which is what Snake is in Telugu. But back then, in 1999, if movies in Kakinada were being streamed in Telugu, that would have been out of lack of choice. But I do know that if a Jawan or Pathan is coming to Kakinada and it's coming in Telugu, it's not because of lack of choice. It's because of the fact that the users from tier 2 cities, in fact, are scripting digital economy's growth of India. So now it's happening for more relevant reasons. It's happening because now they are being included, which is why this particular topic holds of absolute importance, whether we are marketers, whether we are influencers, whether we are consumers for that matter. And that's why I'm really excited to actually invite all our speakers here on stage so that we can gather all the important inputs, all that's happening today, all that's about to happen tomorrow with regard to the regional language dominance, the mobile first or the mobile only strategies, hyper-local targeting, all that and more. So let me quickly go ahead and invite first up our session moderator, the very person who's responsible in extracting all the relevant insights. We have with us Priya Narasimhan, Head Revenue and Partner Growth, Indus App Store. So let's have a round of cheer to invite Priya on stage. Thank you so much, Priya, for joining us. I'd also like to invite our panelists. We have with us Mr. Ajay Dang, President, Head Marketing, Ultratech Cement, Aditya Birla Group. May I further please invite Mr. Snehil Khanor, Founder and CEO, trulymadly.com, Mr. MVS Murthy, Chief Marketing Officer, Federal Bank, and Mr. Milind Pathak, Chief Business Officer, Route Mobile Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, I can say Talia Bajao in many languages. So let's just have a round of applause and welcome all our amazing speakers. And with that, Priya, over to you.
Thank you so much. Hope all of you can hear me. I think it's a super interesting topic and looks like the theme of the sessions today. I'll just start with, I think, a round of introductions so that the speakers can introduce themselves and then dive deep into the topic. I'll just pass on the mic.
This is unexpected, so I think introductions was bad. Yeah, so I head marketing for Ultratech Cement. And it's a good thing because most times I need to dispel stuff more about the category than per se. We are about a 70,000 crore company, 70% of it B2C. Most people here would believe cement is both, quote unquote, the dreaded word commodity and it's largely B2B. That's not the case. At least that's the attempt that's been. I've been a marketer slash business person most of my life, 60-70% in FMCG, and the space is fairly exciting, and I think there's lots that's happening in this market. Just to give you a sense of reference, Ultratech has grown close to a 16.5% CAGR at that base in the last 7-10 years. And fairly exciting stuff is happening in the space. Thanks.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Snehil Khanor. I'm co-founder and CEO of Truly Madly. We are a serious dating app to help you start your love story. This is my third startup and been an entrepreneur since my school days when I was, I think, 15 or 16. So yeah, that's my short intro. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Milind. I work for a company called Route Mobile. We fundamentally help enterprises reach consumers in hundreds of countries. To give you a sense in size and scale, we manage about 110 billion paid transactions on mobile phone using SMS, voice, WhatsApp, RCS globally, right? And that's a serious amount of connect that we do between enterprise to consumer. And I'm happy to have this conversation with you, Priya, and everyone in the panel.
So morning, Priya, and good morning to my fellow panelists. It's a full house. It's lovely to see a packed place. We thought that there will be fleeting number of people. Coming to myself, our anchor was talking about Kakinada. I come from Narsapur, but I'm a fourth generation Mumbaikar. That Mumbai, आमची चौथी पिढी आहे. Aeronautical engineer, got hitched by the advertising bug, got poached by the client, became an entrepreneur. Now I'm the CMO of Federal Bank. We are the sixth largest bank in the country. Hopefully, we'll break into the top 5. A lot of exciting work, and then I'll leave it to Priya to extract all the juice.
Share विकत घेऊ का हा प्रश्न होता.
Thank you so much. I think digitization of India has been a super exciting journey, and mobile phone penetrations have actually led the charge on this one. Today, I think all of us here, I think phone is our one-stop shop, whether it is banking, payments, shopping, buying cement, so to speak, or even finding a life partner. I think everything today is happening on a phone, which is super interesting. Just one data point, interesting data point. Today, unlike maybe 3 years ago, 50% of Indians actually have access to the internet. The base of Bharat, which we're discussing here today, which has access and which can come onto this bandwagon, is about 900 million in 2025, which is a huge, huge base we need to cater to and cater to differently. A brief introduction about myself. I've been with PhonePe for about 7 years, so I've had the privilege of actually watching this journey of digitization and of Bharat unfold from the sidelines directly at PhonePe, and super excited of the kind of tech innovations that can come in to actually change the way marketing happens to these consumers, actually address the needs of the consumers. So on that note, I think first maybe I'll come to you, Mr. Murthy.
Just one thing, okay?
Yeah.
There is only one Mr. Murthy.
Yes.
NRN. You can call me MBS. That
I will
suits.
call you MBS. Perfect. So MBS, I think you had a very interesting journey at Federal Bank, and it's a Kerala headquartered bank as well. So vernacular is probably the start of the journey. So in banking, which is very plain vanilla in terms of products and the basics, how have things evolved differently for the vernacular base? Have the kind of products changed, or is the communication changed? How is it that vernacular is influencing your strategy?
So I'll take this question in 2 parts. First of all, we are a national bank, okay? We have about 800 branches which are ex-Kerala. Our latest branch got inaugurated at Arunachal. So we are no longer a Mallu Kerala-based bank as we are purported to be. So that's one caveat I wanted to give you. The other part is that when you speak about vernacular, Priya, I want to go 2-3 levels below. One is the language itself. So one of the beauties of being in banking is that it is naturally a pan-India, pin code agnostic kind of a business. So if you want to really be profitable and you want to reach where you are, which is number 6, number 7, you need to be present everywhere. The second part is that when you say vernacular, I'll sort of paraphrase it, and I'll also say regional. The opportunity that a large format gives you is to do specific activities in specific locations. And now with so much of fragmentation of the media which has happened, it is easy for me to go into a pin code like say Adayar and run a program there and get about 500-600 customers to walk into a branch, which is the regionalization of the vernacular part. The other is, naturally, when I think of campaigns, I need to start thinking about the various language nuances, and I'm sort of repeating myself. हम लोग हमारी मातृभाषा में सोचते हैं और English में बोलते हैं. So it is very important for us to go out and do that. For us particularly, because there is this halo of being a Kerala-based bank, every time I travel, and because of the name that I carry, they think that ek aur Madrasi aa gaya. But when I go to Punjab and understand Hindi reasonably well, or when I go to Gujarat, they suddenly feel that the bank is also, is also a local bank. So the people, the language you use in your communication, the understanding of culture and what you go out and do in specific pin codes, all of it plays a very, very large role. For an FMCG brand, it comes easy. For banking, I think even about 5-10 years back, it was okay if you were digitally strong and you had a large ATL thing happening. But now with the amount of changes which are happening in the industry, it's very important for you to think at a regional level first, or a vernacular level, which is what you asked me, and then come back into the metros.
No, that's super interesting. While the product may be global or national, I think you have to think local in terms of actually meeting the needs. On that note, I'll just come to you, Snehil. I think truly, madly, I think it's a very interesting app, I think something India's youth uses. But again, you not only have to span, I think, geographies, regions, languages, but I think the diverse preferences of youth, as well as their sensibilities, which I think complicates it to a next level in terms of how do you reach your right audience? How do you differentiate? How do you talk to individual preferences? And how do you do this using tech, since you're an app? So
So because it is a tech play, it becomes very easy for us to take everybody's preferences, right? And then because we have huge user base, we have now more than 13 million registered users. So we have learned a lot from that data, and we know that a general user demography of a person who lives in this particular city or state has such kind of preferences. So we are in 90% of cases we are able to auto generate those preferences and they don't even change it. Right? And from product perspective, it saves us a click, right? Because every click, especially true for Bharat and non-metro India, every one click that you make them do more, 5 to 10% of the funnel drops. Right? And it becomes very important for an app like us, because we do ask a lot of questions about you, about your preferences during the onboarding journey, right? So we have designed it in a way for, while looking at our users, that we have designed it in a way that you can do the whole thing. It's a 13-step process, but you can complete it in 90 seconds while walking with single hand.
Awesome. Just
Right.
a follow-up question. Like, interestingly, there's Bharat Matrimony, which is, again, not dating, but matrimony. They have 163, if I'm not wrong, apps in different languages.
So we have this, in the same app, we have different languages.
In the same app,
right?
okay.
So we have, our app is available in 13 plus regional languages across the country. And every language is a microverse in itself, right? Because I cannot so there are two kinds of users. One who are, for example, say Gujarati user, but also understand English. But then there is a user who does not want, or understands English, but does not want to, make it as a primary mode of communication and wants to connect to a Gujarati person only, right? So then we will not match that Gujarati person with a Marathi person. Right, so if you have opted to use our app in Gujarati and you have opted for the regional, language preference, then we will match you in that Gujarat microverse, right? So those are the kind of things we have done, and we have also seen that, especially in the success stories that we see. So versus a lot of other apps, dating apps, which are primarily designed for the West and just being marketed here, if you see, they operate on radius basis, right? We don't even have that feature. And because we see that most of our success stories, they don't mind even if they are 200, 300 kilometers apart. For example, a guy from Lucknow and girl from Varanasi, right? Same region, similar culture, 200 kilometers apart. And they a lot of, similarly, Bhopal, Indore, then a lot of places where 200-300 kilometers doesn't really matter for them, right? Because anyway, they form the relationship on the digital space, and then they go and meet in the real world.
Awesome. So tech can bridge your distance barriers and bring people closer, and I think hopefully create life partners.
Yeah.
On that note, and you mentioned geography, so I'll come to Mr. Ajay, and I think he dispelled the myth that a cement play is actually a B2B play versus a high involvement consumer decision. So on that note, and my understanding from you is that it's the small towns, it's the tier 2, tier 3, and the rural towns where actually even cement is a very involved decision. So how do you actually reach this market differently? Is it tech innovations? Is it marketing innovations? How do you actually reach them and actually get them to come on to your product?
So I think, brilliant question. I think the piece for us is we've not thought of tech or vernacular from a marketing point of view. We've not thought of it from that point of view. I think our first basic focus was first asking some of the really, really basic questions. And to that extent, I was just wondering as he was speaking, there's something common strangely between what he does and the role or the jobs to be done that we play. Today, India, the first big piece for us is India is no longer home building retirement market. And these people are not very unlike people sitting in this conference per se. Today, the fellow who builds his home, it's their biggest project in their life. I think RBI had done a piece of an average household's P&L. And they've gotten about 77% of their assets are in real estate or home that they build, and about 55% stuff in unsecured loans per se, right? So.
Just check that there is no spark there, please.
Got it. So, no, not at all. So, if I were to put that piece in a single English line, people who are 35 years old in India today are making their first home, getting into a once-in-a-lifetime project which they know nothing about, and to do that and to do a very high-intensive project of that nature, they are taking unstructured loans, right? And we wondered as to why people are getting into a strange category like this. What's the hurry? And if you believe all the news press and all, these are people who are all about experiential economy, don't want to get tied in, and so on and so forth. I think the piece that we got was very, very crucial, that these are people for them, home building is very, very different. The meaning of home building is very different. For them, it could be, and the reason why I was hinting at it, today if you look at what is said when you are matchmaking for your marriage, what does the girl put out as a list of demands as to for the guy to be successful per se? Home is one of those things, right? Having a home of your own is one of those things. So the job that it fulfills is very, very different according to the context of India. Strangely, India has the second largest urban migration in the history of the world after China. Yet, if you see, home construction and cement demand is the greatest in the areas where migration is from, okay, the cow belt. And the reason is money. People come here, but money goes back. Because the fellow is demonstrating that I have not shed my responsibility and I have been successful, home is a large tangible signal for that. The question is, we sell cement, but we don't use all these tools from a marketing point of view. Our job is for a fellow who's 35, has no clue about this complex project, how do we help that person solve a problem in terms of home building in a process which is irreversible, cost of going wrong is very high, and he has little and no knowledge. If you've got to converse with that fellow, and I think the last panel talked about trust being there, important expertise being there, which is there, how do you converse with that fellow, right? So we don't use any digital technology from a quote-unquote marketing per se. Our outlook is very simple. How do we help this person? And when you converse with this person in terms of, look, here are things that you don't know and don't even have the language to talk to us about, this is how we can help you. Then talking to that person, you suddenly have a bonanza if you do it right in vernacular, if you are able to customize it well, if you are able to think ahead of them and help those people.
So you touched on a point with this user. So how do you actually go about conversing with that users? Is it people-led, which has been the history, I think, whenever we talk about offline, or is it technological tools, which works better today? Is that changing, or do you think it needs to change?
To me, I think technology is just, I think we get too fascinated about technology. It's like forks and spoons, right? It's right or wrong depending upon the utility of it. I think we are very people-focused and in our category, the strange thing is if you go and buy a car, you at least know the parameters with which you will choose a car. You know mileage, you know comfort, you know repairability, resale value, etc. When somebody is going and building a home, he has no clue where to start with, right? And therefore, the building journey is typically as long as the construction journey. Within that, I think we help the fellow. We earlier used to have a very large technical team, engineers and so on and so forth, who would help people out. But what we figured out that reaches only 3-4% of our audience per se. What we've done is we don't talk civil engineering, right? We don't talk cement also, right? We are telling these people, if I'm going to the site, where do I buy land? How do I choose bricks? If I'm going to the site and I'm relying on the fellow who is doing the construction, now I also, while I rely on him, I also distrust him. I'm supposed to be his supervisor. And I am less on knowledge versus him. How do I go out and supervise him? If you help those people do these jobs well and anticipate through consumer insight as to what is the core job that he has a problem with, I think then technology, figuring out technology and all of those things are, they are the easier pieces. They're just tools.
Sure. Coming to Milind, I think your journey at Route Mobile, I think overall that business is a legacy business. And the modes of communication reaching consumers have changed significantly. I think this journey of 20 years, almost 20 years, which Route Mobile has been in business. So would love to actually understand, how have your products changed? What are the consumer insights which have evolved over the last 20 odd years and helped those changes? Are there something completely new coming up? Do you reach your consumers for your B2B partners very differently today? Would love to understand that.
So let me try and take a step back. And I've been hearing this Bharat word for now almost 20 years within the digital space of India, right? And I have a fundamental disagreement with that word. I'm a product and a marketing guy. I understand in a product there is a binary 0 and 1. Okay, I have data sets. I cut and slice the data sets, right? I think internet fundamentally democratized brands. So brands, when I learned my MBA in Bajaj, I was told Killer Jeans was for rural, Levi's was for metro. I don't know how many of you old school MBA people remember this. This was a classic case study as a marketing, right? That if you at all sell in rural, they would perhaps resonate with me. Killer was classic rural, Levi's was classic urban, right? I think internet changed and democratized brands everywhere and aspirational. So I break India into aspirational class and that way, right? And let me articulate why I say that. As a marketer, when you look at it, right, data sets have to be then segmented, cut, slice, dice. You could do segmentation to level 1, hyper-personalization, right? A marketer's dream that every message, every ad that I show, the creative graphic should be separate, right? It was a dream when we started doing mobile marketing. That was a aspirational. We'll do personalization then. Internet democratized the brand. Generative AI will democratize productivity and personalization, okay? With this, there is no concept anymore of Bharat, India, this, that, another. Can somebody tell me Twitter is not a Kakinada product? It's a Kakinada product. People use it in Kakinada. So what if it's used in English? If it could be as much used in Telugu or Tamil, right? I don't believe technology is tool. I believe technology is life today, okay? I want to do a raise of hands. How many in this rooms don't have a mobile phone?
That's a hard one, I think.
Nobody. Right? So the exception is not that people are doing vernacular. Exception is who is not doing is perhaps the question, right? When you are so all-pervasive, right, we are missing the part of needs have remained consistent for generations and centuries, right? I want to marry, I want to buy, I want to play, I want to make friends. Manifestations of these needs have changed. Marriage earlier was 5 aunties coming together in marriage, finding bride and groom, has now moved to Shadi, then Bharat Matrimony, and perhaps Turi Madly, right? Making friends was perhaps on kattas of colleges, then went to Orkut, then came to Friendster, then came to Facebook, then came to whatnot, and tomorrow it will go somewhere else, right? You're already having human AI coming up actively saying, forget mobile phone, I'll give you a different device as a lapel pin. as a marketer, when you look at it, right? When I touch consumers and when I talk to brand marketers, the problem that they really want to solve, we see, is can I talk to a consumer? A. Can I talk to a consumer at, I mean, I know so many of, I don't know how many of these marketers in this room have done. I know two big brands of India, I can't name them obviously for confidentiality reasons, who have done their entire front page ad on Times of India in 2 days flat with zero human intervention, absolutely Gen AI. Right? Today, our technology is capable of giving customized communication to every messages that I do. I can potentially do 100 billion messages individual, customized, with customized graphic at a click of a button. This for me is not tool, this is life-changing technology, right? As a marketeer, if I have to forecast 5 years down the line, I believe that before even you think you need, these brands will be visible. Ajay's problem would be to say, how do I really find that Milind who needs a place? And technology will automatically prompt him saying, boss, this is the right fit. Just go and take the sales guy to do it, right? So I think we should look at this generative AI, and I don't know how many of you are following the current Twitter porn on Sam Altman. You should follow it very, very carefully. Sorry, using an unparliamentary word. But the conspiracy theory on that is that he was kicked out of that place because we have reached artificial intelligence in generative AI. If that happens, 5 years down the line, I will be sitting with a robot, which is a lady moderator or a guy moderator, having a conversation with me, which is far evolved than this human conversation. And I would, mark my word. Even we will be replaced. We will be. Mark my word. I predicted 15 years ago on an IMA marketing conclave that mobile will take over the world. I'm telling you, 5 to 10 years down the line, generative AI will take over the world in these conferences.
We'll have robots sitting
And
there.
we will all live to see that across.
Awesome.
Sorry, Ajay, I had a slight difference with you that it's not a tool, it's a life in a way.
To add to his point, so I graduated in 2012, and in my final year project, I showed this slide from Bain and Company in which there was a graph that in 2013, internet browsing, mobile internet browsing will surpass PC. My teacher threw my file, what the dash it is, right? and I had to remove it and correct it and everything. But I told her, you know, it's not my research. It's a well-renowned and because she was like, we are sitting in 2012 early, how can it be? And actually in the next 1.5 years, it actually happened. Not just globally, even we could see that happening in India. That was the birth of e-commerce and everything, right? So that quickly that changed. And he said, you know, that people are now able to generate ads and everything with AI. Actually, now we can have one video of Shah Rukh Khan and he can send a personalized message to each one of you saying your name in your native language. Within few seconds, it will not just be generated, it will be sent to your WhatsApp, right? So that is the technology. It is already there, right? That is happening.
So just, I think, let me play a little counter to this.
Love that.
The question for us is, I think we oftentimes treat these things as holy cows and go for these as grails, holy grails that were there. That marketing means the task of marketing is, first of all, quote unquote communication. I don't believe that it is. The task that you need is personalization, and that's the greatest evolved sense of marketing. That's the pinnacle of marketing. I really don't believe so.
Fair
Okay?
one.
The question that I think why I really strongly believe that, and I hate the word consumers, because I think as being from business schools, I think it's taken me at least some time to unlearn treating people as quote unquote containers into which products are poured and they have to buy it, so on and so forth. I think the greatest piece, generative AI or any mobile or any amount of technology, is the insight that we figure out from the consumer's point of view. Technology can remove the bottlenecks in terms of fulfilling that particular role or job that needs to be done. And I think the role of marketing or business, I don't treat myself as quote unquote as a classical marketer. The role of marketing is not just going across and putting across a message to you saying, hey Ajay, did you have a great morning, or on the way back, are you looking at? In case marketing can put together saying that here are 4, 5, 10 jobs to be done that are super critical to this person. And like you rightly said, we've been the same for 5,000 years, right? We all have a desire to be loved. We all have a desire to be admired. We all require security. We want to stand out, yet we want to blend in. Those pieces are really, really similar. What technology does is there have been bottlenecks in terms of kind of sometimes achieving the basic questions that of delivery. It removes those bottlenecks.
So
Yet it can't be an end in itself to me, right? It cannot become, finally, his job is to find connection between two people. Technology can be aid to that, and it can kind of scale it up. But the real question is, I don't need a personalized cement yet, right? I need stuff which will hold my home strong. I might need personalization from the sense of the questions that I need from a building point of view, which need to be answered. I need, maybe my requirements for finance are different, construction are different, trust are different. Those things might be personalized. I necessarily don't need personalization from cement point of view, right?
Sorry,
Thanks, Ajay, and I'm-
I need to counter that, and if required, hey, I'm at 18, we need 5 more minutes, please. So I've done your job around
I'm
there.
getting charged up right now.
Right? It's not question of charge up. This is a very riveting point, and I agree with you. But I think in your counter is your agreement to my point of view also, and I'll articulate that position. If you look at statistics look at technology from two perspectives. One, enabler, which is a tool for a marketer to reach out to the consumer. I take your point. There, technology for the brand or a marketer or a company is a tool. Perfect. No disagreement. But technology for a consumer is life. Pray, please tell me, how many of your consumers is reading newspaper to television, to radio, to digital, and then consuming that print on digital format? Is your marketing team in digital not showing a different ad to a segment who reads Times of India digitally versus Hindustan Time digitally? Your marketing team does it. I used to sell that through all the Group M agencies 10 years ago as a mobile marketer, right? So you are taking that manifestation of a digital print of Times is now done differently. That's how your tool has used. What I was trying to make a point is, when we say Bharat and India, the maid at my home is some, God bless her, she is a Tulu coming from remote village of Telangana. She lives in a nearby low-cost housing society, or what is popularly called in Bombay as slums, 5 kilometers away from my house. That entire belt is for me Bharat, because all the people who live there is like that, right? I disconnect with the marketer who says Bharat is remote and rural. I only connect with people who say India is aspirational and wanting to be aspirational. And that's the only point of disagreement. Otherwise, I do not disagree with everything that you have said.
So to add to your India, right, India versus Bharat, how I usually look at it is, so if in the top 30 cities of the country, just imagine, we cannot even, all 5 of us probably cannot write down top 30 cities. Just take a wild guess, what is the percentage of population that lives? Probably you are...
Sorry, what was the question?
In the top 30 cities of India, what is the population that lives? Percentage of Indian population.
Oh, I remember that Akbar story. कौवे कितने हैं? ज़्यादा होंगे
नहीं नहीं, ये तो
मेहमान
एक्चुअल है
बन
ना,
के
ये तो
आए,
सेंसस
कौवे-
डेटा है. नहीं नहीं, ये कौओं का नहीं है, सेंसस का डेटा है. So it's just 10% in the top 30 cities, and उसमें से भी 4% live in slums, right? So only 6% of the whole country is, metro, which probably we call India. Rest is Bharat, because they are very to reach them and to entice them, and to your point, personalize. Why is it important? If I am in today's world, I am bombarded with videos, ads, reels, notifications, thousands and thousands of data points coming at me all the time. The thing that will stop me or I will be attracted towards the most, where I have some relatability, and that is personalization in my view, right? That is, so you don't have to, probably you don't have to personalize the cement, but you have to personalize the communication required. That why would I stop out of all the other brands? Why would I stop at a particular ad or a communication which will make me stop? I will not stop. My brain, I am scrolling right, hours a day, and they said that we have just 3 seconds to grab. Actually, I think we have 1.5 seconds, right? So I think that is the importance of
No,
personalization.
I think,
I think
thank you, everyone.
MBS would have a very
Yeah.
strong view on rural market or.
बल्ले से बाहर जाती हुई गेंद छेड़खानी करने की कोई कोशिश नहीं की और जाने दिया उसे.
No, I think
Next question.
in the interest of time, I think we're already, we've taken 5 minutes more. So I think thank you everyone for your wonderful insights. I think all of us are around and I'm sure there are many, many questions. We couldn't open it up to questions here. So please find all of us and happy to answer any further questions. Thank you so much.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, and thank you to all of our speakers. I'm going to request you all, maybe we still have 1 minute left. Can we just check if we have a question from
Yeah,
the
sure.
audience? Because it was a very engaging
Or you
discussion.
can lob one at us. 30 seconds for all.
Perfect. So let's quickly check. Okay, we do have a lot of questions. I'm going to come to you, ma'am. Let's quickly pass the mic. We'll make that really quick because I have 1 minute, 19 seconds. Over to you. Sir.
Hi, this is Sanjay. I'm from a tech company and a legal person. My question is all about that without digital, we cannot live with marketing. That's the end of that because going forward, we'll have to use it, AI, ML, and so on, so forth, or whatever the technology coming. But only the recent remarks which has been come up from the Modi ji about the artificial intelligence for creating deepfake. What is the risk marketing team is finding about deepfake? If we are doing any marketing in our content in the banking or mutual fund or any other industry, what are the risks?
So let me take this question, okay? And I'm coming halfway down the pitch to answer this question. Couple of things. We are reaching the stage of cigarette marketing, wherein every pack had to say the statutory warning: cigarette smoking is injurious to health. So as marketers, I think we should get deeply conscious when we are using AI and we are creating images to tell our consumers that these images are created out of AI. Please use your user discretion or something of that sort to view the images. The second thing is that even now when you look at some of the ads which are being done and some of the models which come in, you tell explicitly that no animal has been harmed in this shoot or the model is not the perfect human shape. And you see very, very large brands coming down to real beauty and stuff like that. So I think the onus is going to be on the marketer to go out and ensure that he's saying this explicitly or she's saying this explicitly to consumers, otherwise the brand will get affected. That's one. The second thing is that despite all the hype around AI and everything, every Scott has a Captain Kirk sitting on top of it. And 9 or 10 times he will say overruled, because you'll need to be very, very sensitive to how people are, to how emotions are. And AI at the end of the day cannot match your heart, which is the human intelligence, which says, मैं 5 सेकंड के लिए बैठ जाऊं क्या? कभी नहीं. Kabhi nahi. It's not possible. So that level will never come. But it can be very, very overwhelming. You'll keep feeling that there is this stream of data. But it's okay to just step away and use your own mind. So I think whether it is deep fakes or you want to apply technology, the human mind will have to go out and prevail. So I think long live Captain Kirk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, my timer says time's up. So I'm going to request our speakers to please come together for a group photograph. And can we also come together and have a round of applause to thank all our amazing speakers, all those diverse insights that we managed to gather. And I'm also going to urge you all to please connect with our speakers, probably during the lunch break or offline in case of any further queries. But let's quickly do a nice group photograph of all of our speakers together. And at the same time, I'm going to also inform our speakers that we have our platinum partner, Root Mobile, that is happy to present a token of appreciation to all our speakers here. So let's have them on the stage, please. We'll have Sonal from team IAMAI to please present the same to all of our speakers. Not yet, sir. It's not over until it's over. Thank you. Thank you so much indeed. Thank you to all of our speakers.